Um, it's not a Christmas song. I was looking for Christmas songs, and I was looking for songs about light, and this one though came up about life, River of Life. And I don't know if any of you all have ever heard this song or not, but it's been an earworm for me all week. And I just want to sing it to you real quick. But it's not a Christmas song.
Okay. Well.
Okay, but I just want to sing it to you because I've just been singing it all the time. Anyway.
Well, it meant something to you.
Okay, so here it goes. But actually, it came up on an evangelical station. and here it is, though. And so it's just got parts, just sing it, just keep repeating it again and again until you drop or until you ascend, I guess, one or the other. So here it goes. It goes, I've got a river of life flowing out. It's a black cat. Oh, I forgot the doggone words. I got a river of life flowing out of me. It makes the lame to walk and the blind to see. Opens prison doors, sets the captives free. I've got a river of life flowing out of me. Spring up, oh well, within my soul. Spring up, oh well, and make me whole. Spring up, oh well, and give to me that life abundantly. Oh, I've got a river of life flowing out of me. Makes the lame to walk and the blind to see. Opens up prison doors, sets the captives free. I've got a river of life flowing out of me.
Very good. Yay.
Apparently, Ann knew that one, Jane.
That was wonderful. Wonderful lyrics.
Yeah, I love
Oh my
it.
God.
Yeah, they were singing that at an evangelical church.
I'm probably Baptist also. I know it.
Ann says it's a Baptist because she knows it.
Well, I didn't hear you singing, Jane. Ann.
Jane, since you're talking about having music going around, here was a meme that I posted on Facebook this week. My mind is like my internet browser. 19 tabs are open, 3 of them are frozen, and I have no idea where the music is coming from.
I can relate to that.
Okay, so welcome everybody. And are you going to try your bowl and see if we could hear it or no?
We try all
What?
the
Wanna try
bowl.
the bowl?
Oh, yeah, here we go.
Okay.
Hmm?
Thank you. The light.
Paul, remember to mute us all.
Okay, so welcome everybody. So glad you're here. So let's center and take a deep breath in. And this is what I know. There is one power, one presence, one light that is everywhere present, and it is in everyone and everything. Spirit is infinite, The divine presence is the fullness of all that exists. I know it is in me. I'm an expression of the divine. All spirit is the expression, is expressed as me and is expressed as you. We come from light. We are this light. We illuminate the loving qualities of spirit. Spirit is all loving. We are this love. We are surrounded with loving, healthy relationships, all sharing the light of God with each other. Spirit is all health. We are this health. Every one of our cells, systems are healthy. Our DNA shines in absolute perfection. Spirit is abundance, financial freedom, joy, and peace. Spirit is in every area of our lives. We always have everything we need. Peace and joy are embedded in our inner spirit. I claim all viruses cease to exist. Health spreads over the world. Our new president is surrounded in grace and collaborates with Congress and accomplishes unity, peace, health, safety, and a country that works for everyone. I know that our Center for Spiritual Living Charlottesville teaching chapter is an amazing expression of the divine, and we grow in support with headquarters, and we attract the perfect minister, and we are the super spreaders of life in our community. And I am grateful to be part of this community, grateful for the highest and best for all our members, grateful for health and happiness of all, blessed to live in a country that works for everyone, excited to see an open economy, open schools, open businesses, and new and exciting opportunities. Grateful that Spirit's loving light shines on everyone this Christmas holiday, and we are all wrapped in loving hugs, knowing we are special and our lives matter. And I release these words into loving law, knowing law always says yes. And I claim this good and more good, and together we say, and so it is. And our identity prayer. I know that within myself, there is that light which is perfect, complete, and divine. It was never born and it cannot die, for it lives and is God. Within myself is wholeness, peace, poise, and the power of life. This life is health, it is abundance, it is love. There is one life, and it is the life of God, and this is my life now, and so it is. Now, Jane, did you have a song before the meditation or no? I saw that on one of your emails. I guess not. Wait, you're muted. You're muted.
Paul, I thought that I had shared with you that we did the regular opening song.
We did.
And then we were just going to do, I was just going to do this real quickly going into the meditation, and just the first verse of it, and then coming out, we do the other thing. So could you pull that up real quickly?
I'm
Which
sorry.
one?
I forgot your opening song. I forgot your opening song, didn't I? Sorry.
Yep. You had Lead Me to the Light for the pre-meditation.
Yeah, but yes, I wanted to do some. I'm sorry.
Sorry, that's my fault. My fault.
We should have talked.
Yeah.
Okay, so let me just say it real quickly. I'm just going to do Lead Me to the Light a cappella, just the first verse of it, going right into meditation. And
Your sound is not good,
Yeah,
Jane.
your sound's
Yeah,
bad.
your bandwidth is down.
we actually
Can't even hear
Oh,
you.
your sound is off.
I guess I did.
Oh, it's your sound was on, but it was so delayed that it messed us up.
Yeah, you can't understand what you said.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah,
Can you hear me now?
yeah.
Okay. So I'm sorry. I don't know why it was so confusing. I sent an email as usual, But I was just going to sing a cappella the first verse of this going into the meditation, and then our I am as God created me coming out.
Yeah,
And,
that's what I have.
All right, but
Yes.
I screwed up, and she was supposed to sing before my treatment. Forgot. Sorry.
Yeah, the opening song, our usual opening song.
Yeah, that's okay. Let's go on.
We were doing the other one as the opening.
I was doing Christmas songs.
Okay. All right.
All right.
But
Let's do Lead Me to the Light.
The show must go on.
Right.
All right. Well, go ahead and play the whole thing then.
The opening song?
The Lead Me to the Light.
Don't have MP3 for that. We have to sing it.
Okay. Okay, I'll sing it and lead it then. So mute everybody else then.
hopefully she'll come through.
Hopefully, yes. If not, then Paul, you and Ann take over. Do I sound all right? Okay, here we go. Lead me to the light. Lead me to the light. Help me to make it through. Lead me to the light. Let's do the whole thing. Make my eyes to see all that I could be. Help me to see it through. Lead me into the light. Turn my night to day. Take the hurt away. Help me to be with you. Lead me into the light.
Thank you, Jane.
Because of the power of the physical sunlight, the earth is able to flourish. Fruits, trees, vegetables are able to grow, and we are able to be sustained because of that light. That light also reveals all the beauty of the physical world, and without it we would never see the wonders of nature and the wonders of each other. But in addition to this physical light, there is a supreme spiritual light. And there is a light within each one of us. This light is just as essential to our being. It fills us with the essentials of love, peace, joy, and purpose. The sages and saints and holy men are often depicted with a halo of light around them. This is the light of the soul. And when our consciousness is high and pure, this light pours from the eyes and through the skin, and it gives a glow to the being. Take a moment now to loosen yourself from the grip of the material world. Allow all the thoughts you have of the material world to melt away as you relax into that warm light that exists within you. as you relax into that warm light, is actually who you are. The physical body is a container for that light. Rise up now beyond the physical world, beyond the sights and sounds of matter, beyond the stories, and feel yourself become more and more silent as you enter a space that is purely light. This is the home of light, from where souls come from. In Raja Yoga, we believe that this is not only the home of souls, but the home of the highest supreme being of light. One who never comes into the material world. The one who never gets lost in the cloak of matter or the costume of the body. Rest here in silence as you allow yourself to absorb the light of the supreme being of the universe. Just like the physical sunlight can be felt everywhere but still has a location, in the same way, supreme energy can be felt everywhere, but still has a form and a location. Each wave of that light, allow yourself to go deeper and deeper into its peace. Spiritual light, just like physical sunlight, is essential for our soul to feel nourished, for our soul to feel loved. It is essential for our soul to thrive. And I can easily merge into this light, dive into its depths, and let each wave of the ocean of light pour onto the mind. Often when people have near-death experiences, they talk about a light, not a physical light, but a spiritual light that is pure consciousness, pure energy, pure love. The Supreme Being is always light, always love. The Supreme Being is always beyond the pull of matter and the influence of matter. And when we lose our light from thinking too much about the material world, from forgetting our own divine natures, we can connect with this energy, recharge the soul. Allow yourself to come back to the world now. But come back with the nourishment, the sustenance, and the peace that comes from having gone beyond to connect with the supreme ocean of light that is always there, just like the physical sunlight, to help souls thrive, blossom, and flourish.
God created me. I am a light in this world. I am as God created me. I am, I am, I am, I am as God created me. I am a light in this world. I am as God created me. I am, I am, I am.
Thank you, Jane. We now have part 2 from Reverend Michelle Medrano from Mile High. We listened to the part 1 last week. This is part 2. Enjoy.
I'm grateful to be back again this week for a second part in my 2-part series called Footprints of Light. I've really loved this series. It's helped me to really deepen into that powerful sense of light in this universe and to have an opportunity to speak about it, especially this time of year. And I've noticed since we have not been able to be together in person as much this last year, one of the challenges in preparing a message to speak is that I find it difficult to put too much humor into the message. And I was asking myself, well, why is that? Is it because I somehow need the laughter of the people who have joined the service to make the humor worthwhile? And I thought, well, maybe that is true. I'm not sure. We got some staff here today, but otherwise there's no one else but us here. So I decided to go ahead and bring some humor into my message today and to start out, which I like to do sometimes, with some humor in the message. And I also realized as I was contemplating this that a huge part of bringing light to the world, I think, is humor, is laughter, is the ability to laugh at ourselves, laugh at the conditions we're in, laugh at the things going on in our life. Oftentimes in my world, just having a little giggle about something takes me to a new level of creativity. So I offer these funnies about the pandemic. I found an email from one of our members, Helen Funk. She sent me this list of funny things to pay attention to during a pandemic or stay-at-home time, and there were 16 of them, and I don't have all 16 of them, but I picked my favorites. Thank you, Helen, for sending them to me. So the first one I really liked, I need to practice social distancing from my refrigerator. We need to remember that one. Still haven't decided where to go to for Christmas, the living room or the bedroom. I know a lot of us have that challenge. This is good advice, I think. Every few days, try your jeans on just to make sure they fit, because pajamas will have you believing all is well in the kingdom. That's a good one for sure. I don't think anyone expected that when we changed the clocks, we'd go from standard time to the twilight zone. Feels like that for me for sure. This is my favorite. This morning, I saw a neighbor talking to her cat. It was obvious she thought her cat understood her. I came into the house and told my dog we laughed a lot. Happens to me all the time. I'm so excited. It's time to take out the garbage. What to wear, what to wear. Oh, gosh. Oh, here's a good one. Classified ad. Single man with toilet paper seeks single woman with hand sanitizer for good, clean fun. And the last one, day 6 of homeschooling. My child just said, I hope I don't have the same teacher next year. I'm deeply offended. So that's some little humor for lightness to start us out today. So last week in our series, we started by talking about accessing the light. And we talked about how we have to anchor the light within ourselves. We have to find doorways into the inner beingness of our own soul, our own essence, because we are the light. And I'm going to continue to emphasize in today's message that we are the light. It's the natural tendency, the natural proclivity for us and as us. So we're not seeking to get something we don't have in this case, and indeed in most cases. We are seeking to gain access, remembrance, a deeper sense of the truth of the light that we already are. And so we talked last week about just anchoring that light, remembering to do that without disconnecting from the darkness. I love the poem that Dr. Patty read from Ogmandino. And boy, we got to meet Ogmandino, both she and I, when he was here many years ago. What a delightful man. And he's absolutely right. The darkness can't be discounted because it allows us to see the stars. The darkness has its place, but the key is to understand that the darkness cannot win out to the light that lives within us, individually or collectively. And yet we don't deny the darkness, because otherwise it just weighs heavy in our soul, in our consciousness, in our beingness. And so we ended last week with a practice where we could transmute darkness. We could look right at it and transmute it so that we can see through it and beyond it. And in reviewing this, I want to point out a quote from Carl Jung that I found really powerful. He says, "One does not become enlightened by imagining figures of light, but by making the darkness conscious. The latter procedure, however, is disagreeable and therefore not popular." And so, especially in our teaching, we have to pay attention to not doing this. So we talked about the light as being the presence, that we're in the midst of the light, we're more present, and we're presence to the presence that is us. And so that was last week. This week, we're focusing on, and the talk title is Spreading the Light. Spreading the light. One of the criticisms that people sometimes have of our faith tradition is that they believe that we spend way too much time sitting and meditating and contemplating our navel, our very spiritual navel, of course, but contemplating too much and inner processing too much, such that we're not as active as some believe we should be. And it's sometimes people outside of our faith and even people inside our faith who demand more action, who demand more moving out into the world. And I understand that. I can get that. And I absolutely can see that as I work in my own inner work, in my meditation practices, and in the way that I perceive myself, as I work to heal my own negativity, to heal my own pain and suffering, that I gain greater access to the light. And therefore, I become more luminous in my daily living. And wherever I go, that luminosity goes with me and can be a part then of the relationships and the conditions and the situations in which I find myself. That's a natural part of it. And yet I can completely acknowledge that to the degree that not only do I work in my spiritual practice to anchor that light, but then to consciously go out and seek to be a spreader of that light, to spread that light in every situation and condition that I can, consciously, to that degree, then I really truly embody the light, because I embrace it and I give it, and I embrace it and I live it, and I embrace it and I share it. And that is, I think, the magic dosing, if you will, of that which can transform an individual's life, as well as then transform and make a difference in our collective lives. And so it's powerful for us to do this. In Ephesians, in chapter 5, in verse 13, I love that it says, "Light has the power to change what it shines upon into light." If, like me, any of us are concerned about the degree of darkness that might exist in our world, the degree of darkness that shows up like ignorance and pain and suffering, and the lack of goodwill towards others and peace on earth, if that's of concern, we each have to take our place in that concern and be willing to understand that to the degree that I access the light and I consciously choose to spread the light, then that which I encounter, every relationship, every condition, every activity, every movement in my life, then I become the light and shine the light, and that which I look upon and partake of and participate in then has the capacity to become more light itself. Light meaning awakened, light meaning lighthearted, light meaning transformative, light meaning luminous for myself and others. And I think that's the secret that all of us are yearning to have and be. And we want other people to go first. Oh yeah, there'll be more light in the world if they'll just go first, or if that situation could just resolve. But our teaching says no. That's great if and when that happens. But each one of us gets to be a vital part of the ongoing creation of unleashing more of the light that we are into this world. It takes conscious awareness. It takes a willingness to rise up. Sometimes even the challenges and the destruction of conditions and situations in our world can create a sense of a lack of light in our own beingness. I know that I have fallen prey at times when things don't go my way, or something that I love is destroyed or it disappears, or a dream I had didn't work out the way I hoped it would, or a relationship doesn't work out the way that I hoped it had. I sometimes can fall into that place of questioning my faith and questioning the light itself. And I think we all do that for a time. And that can be understandable. And then we might need help to pull ourselves out of that awareness and that lack of light-heartedness and lightness in our lives. And yet, I think some people habitually live in that place. Habitually live and look out into the world and see only darkness and destruction, and feel as though there's no hope and there's no enlightenment and it's only getting worse, that sort of thing. And we all need each other to remind each other to be the light, to see the light, and to give the light. To be the light, to see the light, and to give the light, even in our most darkened places. Every year this time of the year, I enjoy watching Christmas movies, and my all-time favorite Christmas movie is It's a Wonderful Life. And I was watching it the other day as I was contemplating this message. And I think a lot of us have the George Bailey syndrome going on. We think when things aren't going well, or if we're not able to get out there and interact with people, or we're not doing enough or being enough, that our life just doesn't matter, and therefore there's not a lot of light that we can count on. But I think that the story of It's a Wonderful Life, at the very end, always reminds me that every life matters. Every being matters. That my presence, your presence, our presence here makes a difference, not only to the people we know and the conditions we know we're part of, but we make a difference to every other being on this planet. We are related to every other being on this planet. And everything we do, and every move we make, and every decision, and every activity, and every conversation, it matters. It makes a difference. I love it in the scene where he's just met Clarence, the guardian angel, and George is complaining about his life and how he wish he'd never been alive. And all of a sudden, Clarence gets this great idea. Well, let me show you what it would be like if you'd never been born. You've got your wish. And immediately the weather even changes. And I don't know if that's true. Like if I'd never been born, would it be as cold out today as it is? I don't know that, but it's just such an enormous, deep thought to consider that if one of us hadn't showed up here to be born and to live this life and to be who we are, how it could have impacted all sorts of things. And when we begin to understand this, we begin to see that our very presence, our very life brings greater light to the earth. I may not have solved the cancer issue. I may not have developed the virus, the inoculation that might help people get rid of the virus. I may not have done something big and broad like that. But my just being in my little life, living it out, doing my best to love and grow and heal, it makes a difference. And even if I'm not doing that, for those of us who say, well, I'm not doing very much, even if I'm not doing that, I like to remind people when we do meditation, every breath we take makes a difference. We breathe in the chemistry that the plants have put forth, and we breathe out chemistry that supports the plants. Our every breath matters. Every time you or I breathe, we bring light onto this planet. We make a difference. And when we begin to understand this, And to see this without the use of a guardian angel who can pretend that we never existed, we can take on that thought and begin to realize, I matter. And the light begins to break through, to burst through sometimes our resistance and our ideas that if my life was just different, I could have made a difference. If conditions were just different, I could have made a difference. In my life so far, I have noticed that I've come across people who have lived through conditions that I certainly would not want to live through. Conditions that I suspect none of us would want to live through. And still, they can sometimes be some of the most loving, light, sweet, generous beings on our planet. And it always reminds me when I see beings like this who have struggled and suffered the most, and yet who have continued to stay in touch with the light of their own heart and their own soul, and to give that and be that conditions don't matter. Conversely, I've seen people who seem to have everything they could ever want. Maybe have everything in the material world that any one of us would ever want, that we think would make our life better. Have had all the opportunities in the world, are living the life. And sometimes they're the most unhappy, dark, unfriendly, stingy people on the planet. It's never, ever the conditions that we were raised in. It's never the things we've suffered through. It's never the conditions we're going through right now that portend if the light will visit us, if the presence can have its way with us. It's none of that. It's us. It's each one of us choosing day by day, moment by moment, to court the miraculous presence of the light. That's how we begin to then spread the light, to spread it by our living, by our being, to look upon other beings from that place and to live in that place. This week, the Festival of Lights began, Hanukkah. For those of you who celebrate and honor Hanukkah, happy Hanukkah. And I just love the story of Hanukkah and the miracle of Hanukkah. And I've read a lot about it in my years as a minister, and I read a lot about it this week in preparation for this message. And it's such a beautiful story that reminds me of exactly what we're talking about right now. It's a story about a time many, many, many eons ago. There was a king, and I always have trouble with his name, and Antiochus, I think is how it says. And Antiochus III was a very generous king, and he supported the Jewish people in practicing their faith traditions exactly as they would like to. But his son, who became the king, the fourth Antiochus, not so much. He was not willing to let the Jewish peoples live their life freely with religious freedom. And so he fought them and passed rules that they should worship Greek gods, and there was resistance. And in the year 168 before the Common Era, this king got so angry that he sent his troops to raid Jerusalem and to kill the Jews and to desecrate their temple, any temple that they came across. And in the second temple in the city, there was a fight that went out and actually throughout the whole city. And eventually the Jewish people began to win this fight, win this battle. And the king's men were pushed aside. And the Jewish people reclaimed that second temple. And when they did, they decided to relight their menorah candle. And they only had enough oil for 1 day, for the candle to burn for 1 day. And they needed 8 days to make new oil for all of the candles of the menorah to be lit. But a miracle happened. That one vat of oil, that one little thing of oil, lasted the entire 8 days, burning that candle in that temple as they rededicated it. And out of that moment came the practice of Hanukkah that so many of our Jewish brothers and sisters practice on this planet. The lighting of the menorah for 8 days in honor of that miracle. And that story reminds me of our life together. Because no matter how much destruction we've been through this year or any other year. What we're talking about today and in these past few weeks, and that we'll hear more about in Dr. Patty's solstice service, is the light wins. The light always wins. It may appear to be a miracle, but the light always wins if we let it win, if we allow that light to win. And that's what we're doing today. And through this holiday season, through what for many of us might have been some of the darkest days we've ever experienced, we're inviting ourselves to continue to not only claim that light, but to consider how it is that even in times like this where we can't be together as much, we can spread the light. We can allow the light to be a part of our life powerfully and profoundly. I'm often surprised and sad at how people tend to gravitate towards the dark, how we tend to think that we can actually accomplish anything by continuing to be fear-based and be all about lack and limitation, and calling people names and writing negative things about other people and speaking negative things about other people. I'm always saddened and surprised by this because it does not accomplish anything, whereas our ability to lean into the light and certainly point to things that aren't working, point to things we wish could be improved, point to moments where we need to pay attention, absolutely. But in a way that brings more light. There are always ways to bring more light. And those of us who are willing to practice this at the spiritual depth of our being can understand this and know this. One of my favorite authors is Joel Goldsmith. And I've been really contemplating in this past year something Joel said. He said, spiritual consciousness is the consciousness that no longer hates or fears error or evil in any form. And so when we give that up, we make ourselves available to the light. But what I see happening a lot is something in a book I'm writing right now I call the fear flu, that we're running around with this virus of fear and lack and limitation, and we're trying to give it onto other people and project it onto other people. And there are some people who will get that virus from us, and then we'll spread that. And then there are some, though, who will say, I'm not going to go there. I'm not accepting that. I'm going to keep my own spiritual immune system strong by continuing to contemplate the light such that other people can be in fear, and I will let them be there, and I won't make them wrong for that. I will just see it. I might feel a little sadness that they're going to be there, but I'm going to stand in the light. And I'm going to stay strong in the light, and I'm going to trust myself, and I'm going to trust my soul, and I'm going to trust my journey, and I'm going to trust our journey together, and I'm going to continue to contemplate and nurture the light that is me so that I can continue to give that presence out. So what does that mean specifically? We've been hearing a lot these days about super spreader events and being a super spreader, so I'm inviting us to be a super spreader of light. Now. During this season, during the holidays, from now into the rest of our days, what would it take for me to be a super spreader of light? That's what I'm asking us to consider. There's a few things I suggest it might take. Number one is really listening to people. I mean, really listening to people. Last week when we talked about light as presence, I really resonate with that because I notice that as I'm with people, sometimes I can get caught up in not paying attention to what's being said, and I'm not present. And what I notice is that people, including myself, crave most is presence. We crave for people just to be with us. I, most of the time, don't need advice. Got a lot of my own advice going on in my head, and if I need advice, I'll usually ask for it. What we crave and what we need is for people to be really present to one another and to listen. So if you're a super spreader of light, I suggest there's a lot of listening going on. Active, loving, open-minded, open-hearted listening. If I'm a super spreader of light, I'm paying attention to what I say and what I do in every moment. I'm paying attention to my words, I'm paying attention to my thoughts, I'm paying attention to my actions, and I'm always asking myself, am I about to say something or do something that will lift up or tear down? Is it going to be constructive or destructive? And I'm not talking about a level of positivity that's just syrupy sweet, because I can certainly ask for what I want or suggest a different path in any situation from a place of love and respect. And that, to me, is being a super spreader of light. When I yell and demand and scream and get angry and frustrated, I often miss the opportunity to be the light and to spread the light in those situations. And so there's opportunities always in every interaction to be and to say and to speak and to be about actions of light. This time of the year, there are opportunities to participate in the lighting of candles, to remind ourselves of this through Hanukkah, through our candlelight service that we have, to help us anchor the light by keeping light around us and being aware of the light. I think that throughout the year, and especially this time of year, giving gifts is a wonderful way to spread light. But I don't think that those gifts always have to be physical things wrapped in pretty packages. Some of the greatest gifts I've ever been given have come from human beings who just shared their heart with me about how something that I said or did supported them, or how my presence mattered to them, or sent a note or a card. Those gifts light me up. Certainly, I experience great light as my inner child opens those presents. But keep in mind, even if it's not a year for you to give elaborate gifts to people or to give in the circle of people that you normally would give, consider sending a love note or making a phone call and just sharing heart to heart what someone's presence has meant to you this past year. That's a huge gift, and it's a wonderful way to spread the light. Contributing to those less fortunate than us, whether it's gifts or volunteering. That's part of why our giving tree is so beautiful and successful every year, because our Mile High community, we love to make sure that kids around the Denver area and the kids from the Lakota Way have coats. We want to be generous. And I know for me and for my husband Ken, when we give like that, it just lights us up to know we're making a difference. We've created a daily calendar that you can get on our website if you'd like, that has been for the month of December, but don't worry if you haven't gotten there yet. You can still take it out and use it throughout the year with acts of things that we can all do to help spread the light. So finding that calendar or a calendar like that. Mostly it can be just asking, how can I be light to the people that I love the most? And how can I be light to the people that I don't like or that I have resistance to? Both questions get to be asked when we're being the light. I'd like to close with a quote from Ernest Holmes, who I think said all of this perfectly. He said, "Let us therefore light the candle of love, human kindness, forgiveness, and understanding in our own soul, and let it shine brightly. Let us not peer into the darkness, troubled and concerned, because it is so foreboding and unknown. Rather, let us remain steadfast in the radiance of that spiritual light of truth within ourselves. Let us stand guard so that the winds of malice, cross purposes, ignorance, or misunderstanding will not blow out the light." And this last part he said so well, we've got it on a slide for us to see. Let us so live each day that the light from our candle of spiritual knowledge will forever be clear and understood, not only by ourselves, but by all with whom we come in contact. Be a super spreader. Let's spread the light. I'm grateful to be back again this
This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. Oh, this little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. Oh, this little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine. Oh, glory of heaven, need it the Lord before. You must be sure you need him now. Oh, sure you need him now. You must be sure you need him now. Oh, glory of heaven, need it the Lord before. You must be sure you need him now. We need him every day and every hour. Oh, glory of heaven, need it the Lord before. You must be sure you need him now. Oh, sure you need him now. You must be sure you need him now. Oh, glory of heaven, need it the Lord before. You must be sure you need him now. We need him every day and every hour. We need him in the morning. We need him in the day. We need him in the evening. Oh yeah, and when my heart's still hurts, we need him in the morning. We need him in the day. We need him in the evening. Oh yeah, and when my heart's oh glory, if you ever knew the Lord before, sure you need him, sure you need him, sure you need him now.
Boy, that was great. A lot of enthusiasm, huh?
They're letting their light shine.
Beautiful dresses and voices.
Yeah.
Just
Yeah.
Yeah.
I saw them at the Paramount Theater twice, actually. And I'm telling you what, their lights shine so much during that 2 hours that they're, you couldn't take the smile off your face for a week.
Who are they?
The Soweto Gospel Choir from South Africa.
They're great.
Yeah. Yeah. They were
What?
good.
Soweto, Soweto.
I'd like to share something with you all that I found very interesting while this was going on. I was really taken by the costumes they were wearing. And I've never seen these people before. But here is a picture, a painting that
Wow.
they did. And if you can see, it's crying on one side. I was called to do this the day after George Floyd was murdered.
Oh, wow.
Beautiful, Nita.
I just find that very interesting connection to their costumes.
Yeah.
You don't do the art does you.
That's pretty much it. That's pretty much it.
Very talented. Beautiful picture.
Yeah, that is very similar to their artwork on their costumes. Yes.
Need to hold it up again?
Yeah.
Let me see how I can.
Wow,
Here we go.
beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's cool.
I think you were channeling something there.
Well, I know I was, because I had a very rough time right after his death. I still almost can't talk about it. It touched me so much. So, yeah.
Nita, what's the yellow line? Can you speak to that?
Well, that in physical sense, it's a nose. It's dividing the two
Right.
sides of the face. It's dividing the warm colors, the light, and the tragedy. There's tragedy on one side, but there's light on the other.
Thank you. So that's the Buddha. Middle path
Yeah,
for me.
yeah. But the light always wins out.
Yeah, always, always.
Right? And always turn the light on.
Was also the Chinese symbol, you know,
Yeah, the yin and the yang.
the yin and the yang. Yeah,
Mhm.
similar.
Yeah. The last,
How they blend into each other for balance.
yeah. The last quote that she said from Ernest Holmes, I sent that out to everybody. So you should.
Thank you, Kathy.
Yeah, it should be. I should have sent it yesterday, but I sent it this morning. I forgot. Too much going on.
Mm.
So,
That was a wonderful presentation. Thank you for finding that, Kathy. I really enjoyed it.
Yes.
good. Well, we need a little light. Everybody needs a little light. We have to.
Makes me want to light every candle in my house this morning.
Yes, I got my candle. Yes, 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 yes.
You know, my grandmother was Methodist, and when she got to be pretty old, and her excitement for the week was to go out and have lunch one day. She used to say, "Well, I can't do anything anymore but pray." She says, "But I do that a lot. I pray for the world every day, and I believe that it makes a difference."
Yeah. Well, we all make a difference.
And she believed that.
I wish we could drill that into our kids at a young age. I wish I had been drilled that into my head that you're here to make a difference, and you can make a difference. Just being here, you make a difference. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, everybody's special, and we should know that, you know. If, even our parents, they probably didn't know it either, that they were special.
Yeah.
And I love the word super spreaders. I'm going to keep that one. We are super spreaders of light.
Yes.
Yeah. And she said the way we do that is by listening. And I have a terrible habit of listening to people, but doing other things while I'm listening, you know, like dishes or something like that. And it drives my girlfriend crazy. She's like, "What are you doing?" I said, "I'm listening. I just, I have to get better at doing that. Just listen and do nothing else."
Well, some people have to doodle while they listen. You know, they have to do something, you know, physical.
Yeah.
To be able to listen.
Yeah, to be able to sit still and quiet, I have to be doing something, you know?
Yeah, I listen to music when I'm doing the dishes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, Tom, I'm proud of you.
Yeah.
Doing the dishes.
Doing the dishes, yeah.
Let's see your hands, Tom.
Hey, they're there. They're there.
We'll see if you're telling us the truth.
The softness
What do you
of
listen to, Tom? What music do you listen to while you're doing the dishes?
What's that? What do I listen to?
Yeah.
Well, you know what's really funny is I've been listening to the music I grew up with in the 70s.
Yeah.
It's
All
really
right.
crazy because it's taken me, I don't know if it's the pandemic or that things are so crazy or what, but just reminiscing about how things, the music kind of takes me back to where things, you know, it was a totally different world.
I listen to the Temptations when I clean my house. My grandkids know all the Temptation songs, you know? I'm like, oh, you know, when they come over and they hear the Temptations, they know I'm cleaning.
What about Bee Gees?
Yeah, no, the Temptations do it for me.
I love the
That
Bee Gees.
beat.
Yeah. The Bee Gees, yeah.
No,
I'm
it's
on the
that
other
beat,
side.
Kathy, of the Temptations, and it's
Yeah.
kind of swinging along, so you can just kind of clean along.
You have, I have all my records when I was a kid. I have all my 45 records. I have boxes of them, and I have I have albums. I have Chubby Checkers album.
Wow. I used to have that.
I have Chubby Checkers. I had the first Beatle album that came out.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
You're
That's
worth
a
some
lot of
money.
money.
Yeah, that's worth
That's
something.
worth money.
Yeah.
Kathy, my first memory includes a little record player that my dad had that played 45 RPM records. It had the big spindle on it, and it would. I guess it was a changer, so it would actually play more than one record at a time.
Yeah.
But
But you can't even get them anymore. I
the
have
45s.
no that spindle that goes in there.
Yeah, you have to get the little adapter to go on a regular spindle.
Yeah. Yeah.
It was a big fat thing that went down, I think.
Sorry, I'm late. I'm so sorry. Merry Christmas to everybody.
Merry Christmas. We're talking about music we grew up with and loved.
Oh my gosh. I thought I was too late, but I figured I'll try. So anyway, I just wanted to see everybody too.
I missed the message, but
That was a discussion.
It's about how we're all lights.
Yeah.
So
Thank you.
Super spreader of light.
We all make a difference.
Yeah.
Just being here makes a
yeah,
difference.
we all make a difference.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's like Paul.
When
Like
this
Paul- I'm sorry. Go ahead.
go ahead.
Well, it's like Paul always says that if you smile at somebody, they'll automatically smile back.
Yeah.
And that gives them the feeling, because using the muscles a certain way in your face, like a smile, makes you feel happier.
Yeah.
And that's one way to spread the light.
There was a couple guys that became intrigued with something like 44 different muscles you have in your face, and they took it upon themselves to learn to consciously, individually contract and relax each of those 44 muscles.
Wow.
And one of the things that they learned in doing that was, when you have an emotion, you tend to express it in your face, and the way you express it is by, contracting certain muscles of those 44 muscles. And what they learned was that when you feel the emotion, that causes you to use those muscles, but when you use the muscles, that causes you to feel the emotion.
Wow.
So as Ann was saying, the interesting thing about that is if you smile at someone, just you're walking down the aisle at the grocery store or something, and you
So they
smile
can't
at
see it
someone.
nowadays.
Yeah, you can't see me now because they can still see. They can't see my mouth and nose, but they can still see my eyes, and my eyes are smiling.
Yeah.
right, we have to learn how to smile with our eyes.
Yeah.
You know,
Well,
an
you do it
FBI
naturally. You do it
FBI
naturally.
agent studied that and wrote a book about it.
Yeah.
I don't
Oh,
know
really?
his name, but
Yeah, I don't
it was
remember.
investigation.
I don't remember who it was, but it was two guys that did this a number of years ago.
Yeah.
So the point is that if you smile at someone, they will instinctively smile back. And you're not forcing them to feel better. You're inviting them to feel better through, when you smile at them, they smile in return. And as a result of their smiling, that raises their vibration.
Yeah. Yeah. Like a poker face. You have to know how to
Yeah.
right? When not to smile when you have a good hand. Yeah. And I like what you said, you're either lifting somebody up or tearing it down. So that's important, I think. Whatever you're saying, to listen to what you're saying. Is it a positive to share or is it a negative to share? And that comes in when everybody talking about the coronavirus too. You don't want to get on the bandwagon of negativity and say, oh, this is horrible and all that stuff.
Whatever you put energy into gets bigger.
Right.
What was that quote she said that about enlightenment was when, and who said that? When you weren't affected by people's fears or what was that quote?
I didn't get the whole.
Was it from Ernest Holmes or?
Yeah.
Oh, I don't think it was.
No,
No.
it wasn't Ernest Holmes.
That part wasn't.
Carl Young. Carl Young.
Yeah, it was young.
Yeah, that's who it was.
That was the one in the very beginning called.
Yeah.
Fear, if when you were no longer affected by like fear and negativity.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Because I mean, I
Yeah, but
think
there
it's true. It's like what
There was something about it was like the whole world's fear, or it was something about the way it was said just really struck me, actually,
Yeah.
in a new way.
Yeah, it's kind of like what Paul said, just the focus on the fear and the focus. It reminds me, you get what you focus on.
Yeah.
So do you need to deal with fear by focusing on it?
Yeah.
Well,
That's what Carl Young was saying.
Yeah.
yeah, part of what Bob Proctor teaches is this concept of you have all this information pouring in through your five senses, and but the thing is that all of that information is based on what has already happened, and you don't really, I mean, that information that's coming in is at least partly based on what you have done in the past. So if your behavior is based on this information that's coming in, you're just in kind of this feedback loop. Bad information comes in, so you have bad behavior, which produces bad information, which produces bad behavior. You're in this feedback loop. The only way to break out of that is to say, okay, you take that information and say, okay, that's there, but what do I want? How do I want to behave? Who do I want to be, regardless of that out there? And when you disconnect your behavior from that information that's pouring in, when your behavior is not influenced by what's going on out there, that's when you can really start to take control of your environment. Because if your environment is a product of how you're behaving, then you have to make the difference somewhere. You have to break that feedback loop and start behaving based on what you want, not based on what you're perceiving.
Very science of mind stuff.
Yeah, it is very science of mind.
Well, it goes back to, are you lifting up or tearing down?
Yeah.
Yeah, because everything we see out there in the world is past. It's
Yes.
already been created.
It's already happened.
Yeah, create a new
So it's
beginning, a
already
new
past.
way. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Can you put us on
in the
sharing
now,
mode?
if you're in the now, if you're in the moment,
Right.
Share mode instead
I
of-
think you almost transcend thinking. When you resonate with the light
Thank you.
in the moment, then it seems like you're not in control. You're privy to an unfoldment, and if you are resonating with the light in the now, in the present, that you are witnessing an unfoldment without any control, and your behavior is appropriate. I mean, I think you can witness yourself behaving in appropriate ways in this unfoldment, but you're in no way in control of that. I mean, as an ego self, the higher self, it seems like the higher self knows, the ego self thinks. But in that unfoldment, you are participatory, but you're not in control. And your doing is appropriate in that higher vibration. The question is how to get there.
Yeah. I think that's a
That's
lot
good,
of us
Tom. Thank you, Tom.
feeling. We're feeling like
Say that again, Violet.
I'm getting
I didn't say
feedback.
anything. If
Uh,
you're reading my mind, that's not fair.
I think a lot of us
Wait a minute. What was it that Violet was trying to say?
I don't know. I'm a lot of us are feeling out of control because of the pandemic and everything that's going on. And that's what takes us into fear when we're out of control.
Control issues.
Yeah. Especially if you have control issues.
I think the reality is we are never in control.
Yeah. You're never in control, so it doesn't really matter.
You're never in control.
You're here for the ride.
And by the way,
let go and let God.
Per the rules of the Spirit, control is a worldly thing. The rules of the world are control, power, and fear, or fear, control, and power, or something like that. Anyway, those three. The point is, those are worldly things, and those three traits are disconnected from the way Spirit works, and they only seem like they work, but they really don't.
Well, they can be. I'm going to say, if you pull me out of a car wreck or a burning building, I thank you. That could be a decision you make in the moment to act.
Mm-hmm.
Right, but you know what? The idea that if I can't control the things that are in my environment, then I'm going to be in fear. It's the thing about fear is that we have observed that when you go into fear, any intelligence that you might have presumed to have goes out the window. We had a story about a kitten that was very afraid of loud noises and would go run underneath something. And so when somebody started their lawnmower, then the kitten would go into fear and try to run under the lawnmower. We had a long-haired cat that when he would go into fear, he would just start running, and he would go run smack into the wall or furniture or something like that, just trying to get away because he wasn't thinking about what he's doing. He was just trying to run. So when you go into fear, you lose your when you go into fear, you lose control. When you go into fear, you lose your ability to adapt and respond to the environment and in appropriate ways. And that's the challenge. That doesn't mean you don't experience fear. It just means that you don't allow fear to take over and start controlling what it is that you're doing.
And she's writing that book. She's writing a book, The Fear Flu.
Who's that?
The Fear
That
Flu.
was good, I thought.
Michelle.
The woman that's
the speaker.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it is like a disease, and the thing is, we're not really taught how to deal with that. We're taught either nothing at all, or we're taught to repress fear. And what I'm talking about is not repressing fear. What I'm talking about is acknowledging that it's there and keeping your mind about you so that you can choose something else. It doesn't mean that you reject the fear. It means that you don't allow the fear to control you.
Yeah. Yeah, she even said not to deny the darkness, see beyond it.
Yeah, beyond it.
Yeah. So you
if you
look
didn't
at
have darkness, you could see the stars. That's what I'm saying,
Yeah.
So
you can take whatever the situation is and say, wow, this is scary, but okay, now what am I going to do? Yeah. And that's how heroic acts are done. I use the example all the time of if fear were truly, the world believes that fear is more powerful than love. And a lot of times that's true because people tend to react out of fear rather than responding. They react. But there's, there's examples of battlefield situations where, one soldier would throw themselves on a hand grenade to protect their comrades. Clearly, in that moment, they're assessing that situation and realizing that, either one of us can die or all of us can die. I'm going to make it be one of us. And so they do things that are, essentially the ultimate sacrifice, the ultimate facing the fears. And that act is done out of love. And that's why I say love is more powerful than fear is.
But in our society, I mean, the news, the newspapers, they don't sell love.
No.
They fear.
Well, and the thing is, if you get immersed in that,
Yeah.
and especially because we have about 2/3 of our media, of our like news media, are hard left spin, and about 1/3 of it is hard right spin. If you get into listening to one or the other of those, you're going to get
very one-sided stuff.
You're going to get very one-sided, and it's all what I would call the half-truth. They don't tell you the whole truth. They only tell you the part that serves their narrative. So for the hard left media, they only tell the part that serves their narrative. For the hard right media, they tell the part that serves their narrative. So you have to take everything that they say with a very large grain of salt, because it's all very slanted and one-sided.
I listened to David Muir at 6:30, and the last thing he does, it's always a positive story, like on love or something. And that's the only reason I listen to that news. I like
come at the very last.
The very last thing he says is always something positive, and it's always brings you to tears, and
There's a network.
It the other way around and showed all that, and then just had 5 minutes of the other stuff. So it'd be nice if they reversed that.
Yeah. Well, I read the Good News Network.
Yeah.
I was listening to Tina Spalding last evening. She's a channel, and she was talking about how we may have some. Well, she was talking about the solstice and all of the events that are going on, and she said over the next few months it's going to be, with all this light coming in. With the solstice, it's going to, bring the darkness is going to make one last effort. And so the next few months might be a bit challenging, because things are going to speed up with so much light and so forth. And changes are going to be taking place. And she says, put on blinders. And I like that image. I thought, I'm going to remember that and try to keep my blinders on and not listen to all this stuff that's going on around us.
Yeah.
Be aware of it, but just keep your focus.
You ought to be inundated by it.
Yeah, don't look down.
So put on your blinders, guys.
So did everybody knows about the December 21st planets aligning?
Yeah.
Right.
Saturn and Jupiter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We being Ann and the mouse in her pocket, had to go find the eyepiece for her 4.5-inch telescope so that we could try to get it out and see the conjunction.
Well, we can probably see with our eyes.
Well, you can't see like the rings of Saturn, but
no.
I mean, you can see that the two are coming together, but it'd be cool to, look in the telescope and see Jupiter and Saturn right next to each other. I wish we had a camera adapter that we could use to take pictures of it.
Is there a certain time? I mean,
do you have that U2 thing I sent you?
Yeah.
This is only 2 minutes long, but it explains everything.
Let's see.
What is it, Kathy?
This is it's called the Great Conjunction.
You have to share the screen.
Okay, let me share the screen again.
Okay.
Well, I have a friend who's moved to the country, and he just has a little telescope, and he can hook his camera up to it, and he takes the most extraordinary pictures. It's amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it's just a little telescope it's a 4.5 inch reflector telescope. We haven't used it since we've been here. We haven't seen the eyepiece since we've been here 5 years.
Something I found.
Okay, hang on a second.
The two largest planets are intact here. We're talking about Jupiter and.
Yeah, it's this thing. I have to share the sound. Well, it already says it's shared.
It's not very loud.
Yeah, we can hear it.
You can? Okay.
Or some are calling it a Christmas star, though it's really two planets in near perfect alignment. The two largest planets, to be exact here. We're talking about Jupiter and Saturn. 13 ABC's Dan Smith explains this phenomenon, all new at 5.
The winter solstice is coming up, and it just so happens another planetary event will occur on the same day.
Anytime two objects get close to each other on the night sky, we call that a conjunction. And these happen all the time. And it just so happens that there is what's called a great conjunction coming up on December 21st.
Jupiter and Saturn will keep appearing closer and closer together in the southwest sky over the next several nights, finally appearing to align almost perfectly the evening of the 21st.
Oh, wow.
They'll be within 0.1 degrees of each other, or 1/5 the size of the moon, which is a very, very small angle, almost at the limit of what your eye can resolve naked eye.
Dr. Cushing wants to clear up the internet rumor mill and says, no, the planets will not actually collide.
No.
It's kind of like seeing two airplanes cross in the sky, and you sort of think they might hit, and it turns out one was 3,000 feet, higher in altitude than the other one. So they're not going to collide.
It's a little like how supermoons only appear barely larger than usual. Not very spectacular, and not really on many astronomers' radar.
For professional astronomers, it has no real value because we can observe these planets anytime we want.
Still, great conjunctions between the two largest planets in our solar system are rare.
The last time there was one, it was 1623, but that happened and it was very close to the sun, and so no one really saw it. And so the last time people could really see it was in the Middle Ages, back in the 1200s.
Dr. Cushing says any excuse to get people interested in science is a good one.
It gets people to look up instead of looking down at their cell phones. And so anytime we can get anyone to go outside, get some fresh air, look up at the night sky, appreciate their place in the universe, I think that's a good thing.
At least you won't have to wait another 800 years for the next great conjunction, expected in the year 2080. Dan Smith, 13 ABC Action News.
Probably won't be here for that one.
Yeah, I thought that was.
I don't know. I'm planning on being here for that one.
You might be.
Well, it's a nice thing to think about, them actually coming that close together and making a great light.
It's like a perfect time. Oh, we got you. We can hear you, Betty. You're back.
Yeah, we can hear you, but we can't see you.
Well, I'll tell you, Harley came in and he messed everything up, but I did hear the service.
Oh, nice.
And what I finally had to do was to go all the way back to the beginning and click my email and get Kathy's message and start over again.
Oh, okay.
And then when I did, it seemed like everything else was working too. Harley is not allowed in here anymore on Sunday morning. I don't care if it's pouring out rain.
We him for a good while.
I think he was fascinated.
So we're
by
back.
the people on the screen.
Up against the
Maybe he
camera.
even recognized Tom. I don't know. He was trying to give all of you nosies.
I'm sorry.
He was.
Yeah, but we can't do that again. Absolutely. Oh.
Well, some news I wanted to share with you. Tomorrow.
Kathy, before we go on with that, Paul, the guy didn't say in the newscast, but where to look. Does anybody know?
Up.
Southwest.
Look up.
What, north, south, east, west?
No, I think he said southwest.
Southwest.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And he said, I was listening to a few of them to see which one, was the better one. And they said it's only 90 minutes that you're going to have that. So it's
really,
it's only 90 minutes long that you're going to see it. And it's an hour and a half after sunset. So it's an hour and a half. And he said you could watch it like tonight. You could see they're not going to be totally close, but you're going to see them close. But they're not going to be on top of each other or anything like that you could see. But he said to watch it because you were saying yesterday you could watch the progression of them getting closer.
Wow.
But an hour and a half after sunset, and it only lasts 90 minutes, and then they're going to start separating again.
Cool.
Yeah. So we have to go out southwest.
So that's tonight.
That's
tomorrow morning. Tomorrow night.
Yeah.
Tomorrow night. Yeah.
Tomorrow. Right. Okay.
Let's see. I'm looking in. Both today and tomorrow is supposed to be partly cloudy.
Uh-oh.
But it's supposed to be a light like they had the light of Bethlehem. It's going to be that shiny, they said. So we should be able to see it. And I think it's so appropriate that it's at this.
It's not too overcast.
Everybody needs.
Yeah. Let's see. Tomorrow night.
Almost 5 o'clock will be sunset.
All right. So
6:30ish.
Yeah.
That's tonight.
6:30ish tomorrow night is supposed to be, unfortunately, mostly cloudy.
Well, it's going to be bright enough to see, Paul.
Yeah,
Okay, Kathy.
The little icon is 2 clouds and a partial moon.
We can still see them close to each other even tonight. So
yeah, right. All right. So news going. Tomorrow, the 21st, is also the headquarters meetings week where we're going to be finalized and we'll get our charter. So they meet tomorrow.
Yay!
Congratulations. Thank you.
Appropriate.
I know, the solstice. And a few things I wanted to share. The Mile High Church has a lot of stuff going on. And I'm knowing next year we're going to have a lot of stuff going on ourselves. But they have a candlelight service. If you go on CSL Mile, M-I-L-E, High, H-I, you could go to their services, their holiday services, and they have a Christmas candlelighting service. Now, they are in, where are they, Jane?
Colorado.
Oh, so
Yeah.
Denver.
Are they in Denver or are they in Colorado Springs?
Denver's a Mile High city, so it should be Denver.
Yeah, you would think.
So is that 2-hour difference? Is that a 2-hour?
Yeah, it's 2-hour difference.
Okay. So this is the Christmas candlelight service. They're having 3 of them, one at 1, 4, and 7. So that would be, figure it out, 2 hours.
6 and 9.
6 and 9, yeah.
And Roger Teal's going to be there, Michelle, they're having music. So it sounds like it's going to be really nice.
I saw the promotion for it on their website. And my gosh, I had no idea how huge their auditorium is.
It really is.
It is huge.
And they stood outside, the minister stood outside of the church, and everybody, all their members came and they gave them packages of candles so they could do it at home. So I thought that was really nice. They also have a family Christmas service that's live stream Wednesday. Oh, we missed it. That was December 9th.
Crank up the time machine.
Yeah, winter solstice is that too.
The candlelight service is Christmas Eve.
December 23rd and December 24th.
Oh.
And it's 3 times. So their time is 1, 4, and 7. So
Ours will be 3, 6, and 9.
right. So that would be nice to do. And that's
Yeah.
the 23rd and the 24th. So you just go on CSL Mile High and you'll see that.
It's I pasted the URL for their website in the chat.
It's milehighchurch.org.
milehighchurch.org.
Also, Roger Teal spoke this morning and for the Christmas message he gave.
Yeah.
You could get that on YouTube, I'm sure.
Right.
Just go put his name in, Roger Teal, and you can get his message.
Right. And speaking of messages, Reverend Robin Moore is going to speak next week to our group.
Okay, good.
And New Year's Eve, CSL headquarters is having a New Year's Eve dance party. And it's with Eddie Watkins Jr. And it is on Thursday, December 31st. And that's also, it's going to be at 10 o'clock our time. So they're having all kinds of music. It really sounds nice too. Yeah.
We had him. We used one of his songs a few weeks ago.
It was Unity. It was Unity. But this is a dance party and music and everything. So instead of listening, on television to all the rap music that they have on, you can tune into this. And I will I'll send the link out because what they had was a dance party access is on this email. So I'll have to, I'll send it out to you, but that's New Year's Eve. And what else? Oh, the Echo magazine, they gave us a special and we took the special and it was like $14 a month to put an ad in the paper. So we took it for the year. So we're going to have our name and the website and how to get there. And that's going to come out every month. And he's also giving us 2 articles. So we're going to save one until we start meeting. And we have to figure out when we're going to put another one in. I figured it would be good to do when we started meeting in person. But he's giving us 2 articles for free because we did the year thing. So that would be good. And what else? There is one more thing. The headquarters is also doing a facilitation academy. And it's workshops on a whole bunch of different workshops, expand the facilitation skills, learn key elements of successful educating offerings, gain greater appreciation of participant learning styles, deepen your cultural awareness, and confidential pricing your offerings and foster supported relationships. So I think it's just on building your centers and stuff. And I could do it alone, or they have rates where we could get 5 people to do it if anybody was interested in doing that. And what else?
5 people?
5 people. It's either one person is $99 and 5 people are $239, I think, or something like that. If people want to do that, but it might help us, learn how to grow our base.
Makes it be like $45 a person for 5 people.
Yeah. So that is that. And what else? I think that's it. And I want to thank everybody again for all your donations and PayPal donations and checks coming to my house. It's really appreciated. We're doing really well with our money. And so what I know is God is the source of all supply and money is God in action. And as we give, we set spiritual law in motion. And right here we are clear,
Not shared.
Fullness, we give out of our abundance, and we give out of our overflowing blessings. And we give to our Center for Spiritual Living, Charlottesville, knowing we touch the minds and hearts of all that come, and our group expands in number and consciousness, and our lives keep getting better and better. And we live from a state of gratitude, and so it is. So, Jane, I feel so bad I kind of skipped your song and you spent so much time finding it. Do you want to do the opening? Is this your opening song?
No, this is the ending song. Let's just do this. We're good.
Okay. All right. I'm sorry. We'll do it next.
No. Yeah, no, I didn't spend a lot of the opening song I chose was just the one that we always do.
Oh, okay.
Spirit is in this place. So let's just go with this and we'll be done with it. Yeah.
I am a light. I am a light in this world. In this world. I am a light. I am a light in this world. In this world. This is the place. This is the time. Let it shine. Let it shine. I see the joy. I see the joy in this world. In this world. I see the joy. I see the joy in this world. In this world. This is the place. This is the time. Let it shine. Let it shine. I live in love every day. I'm living love every day. I'm living love every day. Spreading peace along the way. Right time, right place. Living love every day. We are the light. We are the light in this world. In this world. We are the light. We are the light in this world. In this world. This is the place. This is the time. Let it shine. Let it shine. This is the place. This is the time. Let it shine. Let it shine. This is the place. This is the time. Let it shine. Let it shine. Let it shine. Lovely.
Great, great. And I wanted to wish, or should I say, I know everyone is going to have a safe, happy, healthy, quiet holiday. And this will be a Christmas that we'll all remember. Just because it's quiet doesn't mean it's not going to be special or magical. This is a holiday of lights, reminding us that we are the light in the world. We are super spreaders of the light to everyone we come in contact with. And we know in our hearts, our lives matter, all lives matter. And we are here at this time, at this season for a reason. So let's live every day in this powerful, loving light that shines from within out. So enjoy. Blessings and love on this holiday. Namaste to all of you. Love you guys. Love you.
Namaste.
Thank you. Namaste. Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas, everybody.
Namaste.
Anybody want to sing Christmas carols?